Hi, good morning. Happy Monday. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Marketing Monday. If you're here live, say hi, say hello. And if you're catching the replay, we want you to drop replay in the comments so that we know that you're here and can make sure that we're taking care of any questions you might have. Today, we are not talking about doing more marketing. Right on par with what we've been talking about all through Q1, we're taking that into Q2. It's not about doing more marketing. It is about doing smarter marketing because we are officially in Q2, and this is the moment where most business owners either double down on what's not working or disappear because they feel behind. And I'm not going to let you do either. So today, we're going to consider this our Q2 reset conversation. So we're going to walk through several things, three things. Q2 marketing audit is going to be our first thing. What's working, what's not working, and what needs attention. So that's what we're going to talk about first. Then we're going to move into Q2 content strategy. What conversation should you be stepping into right now for co-branding opportunities or growth in general? And then the third thing we're going to talk about is how to create your own like chief marketing officer day, your own marketing, CEO marketing day, where you stop winging your marketing and you actually run it like a CEO. So by the end of this, you should not just feel inspired, which I hope you do, but you should know exactly what to do next. That's our goal for you today. And let me just do one thing. I'm going to refresh my screen really fast just to make sure I have. Okay, perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and start with the first conversation around doing a marketing audit. In Q2 and in Q4, I like to do marketing audits. In Q2, before like you create anything new, before you jump on like another trend, or before you decide nothing's working, you need to look at your data first. Um, and I don't mean like the complicated dashboards that some programs come with. I mean three very simple like questions. What is working? It's the first one. And I want you to ask like what content actually got engagement? Not likes from your friends, not your mom commenting about how proud she is of you, even though it's so sweet. We love mama. But I'm talking about saves, shares, comments, DMs, actual conversations, because those are signals for you as a business owner to that you may have interest in whatever it is that you're posting about. So if something is getting saved or shared, your audience is telling you this matters. It's that simple. It matters. Now, here's where most people mess this up. They see something work once and then they move on. No, if something is working, your job is to do it again, but better. Not to just go, that was nice, and then like not continue it. Turn one post into, let's say, your top performing thing. You could turn it into a reel. You could expand it into a carousel, which is like where you have like the photos on the Instagram and you can swipe. And then you could also turn it into a live or an email or any kind of conversation, really. You don't need new ideas. You need to maximize what's already working. So if you can assess the content and decide what's working, you'll have a better idea of where you need to be spending your time, energy, and effort. Now, the next question you want to ask yourself is what's not working, because this is really important too. And it's the uncomfortable part. What's not working? And I want you to be honest here. If you say you're posting consistently and getting nothing back, that is feedback, not failure. And feedback is good. Feedback gives us information so we can make better decisions. So here's what that usually means. If you're posting consistently and nothing is coming back for you, is it usually means your messaging is either unclear, Your content might be too generic, or you're talking about what you care about, not what your audience cares about. Now, there could be other reasons, but these tend to be the main ones. So if that aligns with you, let us know. Um, and I say this with love. Most business owners are creating content that sounds like, here's what I do, here's my service, and here's my offer. But your audience is thinking more of, does this solve my problem? So if the answer isn't obvious in that first like 3 second like glance during their scroll, you're probably going to miss it, because if something isn't working, you don't want to keep posting that thing over and over again. You want to find the thing that is working and replicate that in different forms in order to drive more engagement, traffic, and awareness to whatever it is that is performing well. The third question, so you have the what works, what doesn't work. The third question is what needs to be tended to in your audit for your marketing. So this is the one I would say not very many people talk about, because it essentially is the thing you're ignoring, which means you've got to admit that you're probably not giving it as much attention as you said you were going to when you invested in it initially. But every business has a list. So let's think about it. What helps you determine what you're going to do with it? It's because every business has a list of back burner items that they need to address, like maybe the website is outdated or the homepage, maybe it's unclear. When you had it built, you were going in one direction, but you kind of switched and you don't have someone to support you with that. It could be inconsistent branding. Did you recently go through a brand change, but not everything got rebranded? Um, it could be offers that don't make sense or content that doesn't really connect to anything. And we avoid it because it feels big, but the truth is your marketing will not grow to the level your foundation can support. So if your will only grow to the level that your foundation can support. So if your back end is messy, your results will probably be inconsistent. So Q2, what I'm challenging you to do is I want you to clean up those things in your marketing, because you deserve to have clarity and space for your marketing to live and breathe. It is its own like ecosystem, and you need it to be able to function. So being organized on the back end is a part of that process. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that. So don't worry, just hang in there with me. I want to move into the next part. So once you do your audit and you say what works, what doesn't work, and what do I need to address, basically, what do I need to tend to? The next part to this is looking at a content strategy. Now, that's now that we know what is true for your brand, like what you're moving forward with, I want to talk about what to physically be doing next. So there are lots of different ways to generate content for your company. Macro conversations are a really great way to not have to create demand from scratch. So there are already conversations that are happening, and your job is to step into them strategically. So let's talk about what macro conversations are happening like in the retail and the holiday world right now for quarter 2. In Q2, we have graduation season, Mother's Day, Memorial Day, the start of summer, travel season, and wedding season. And they're these are not just holidays, they're emotional moments. And emotional moments can create engagement. So instead of saying like, here's my service, you could say, here's what I do. Here's how what I do connects to what you're experiencing right now. So let me give you an example. A financial advisor maybe they want to talk graduation as their macro conversation for their content. And then maybe the conversation that then leads to, what does a financial advisor say about graduation? Oh, financial independence. Excellent. Then you have a marketing agency, then you have summer, and that equals visibility and momentum. You have a service provider and Mother's Day. Maybe that's support, time, and balance. This is how you co-brand with the moment, is you have to think through it at a high level. What is the conversation I can attach to? And then what in my sphere of influence of information and knowledge can I then create that goes to that larger conversation? It's not forcing content. You're aligning with what people already care about and what they're already being conditioned to see all the time. For example, grocery stores lead the way all the way because they are the first to do all the retail, right? So as soon as Christmas goes down, Valentine's Day goes up. You're like, that's in 8 weeks, like, or 9 weeks. Like, that's not even, why are we doing that right now? But the thing is retail stores, they're always going to be about 2 months ahead of every trend. And in some cases, three. And I've seen them push it out to four. So when you're thinking about what conversations can I be a part of, think about what people already care about. It's graduation season. How can you attach yourself to the conversation around graduation? Maybe you're a CEO with a grad student. Celebrate that, talk about that. Maybe you want to give back or support. Maybe you have an audience that has lots of graduates because you work with young people. I don't know. Whatever it is, find whatever that overarching theme is in the macro conversation of retail, using retail as like your lead, and then attach the conversation in a way that's meaningful to your brand, so that you're not just talking about yourself all the time as much as you're talking about the things that your people are interested in, the problem that you solve for them, and how you can show up for them emotionally when they're attached to those moments for those holidays. So now let's clean this up across platforms, because not all content performs the same everywhere. So Facebook, for example, is still relationship driven. And what works is like doing storytelling, lives, community-based posts, longer captions. People are there to connect. So talk like a human and not like a billboard. It's pretty simple. They just want to connect. That's what they're there for. It's digital social experience. Instagram is attention driven. So what works there is going to be like reels, carousels, visual storytelling. You have about 2 seconds. That's it to get their attention, to earn their attention, to get them to stay with it. So your hook matters more than your content. Don't ever forget how important that hook is. LinkedIn is authority driven. So, what works in LinkedIn is like insights, lessons learned, professional experiences. This is not where you shrink. This is where you positioned yourself as the thought leader or the leader in that industry. And I would even go as far as saying, like, if you're on YouTube, YouTube is value driven. So, what works there is long form education, searchable content, consistency. And this is where you build trust and you can scale, not overnight, but long term. And here's the bottom line. If you can stop posting the same thing everywhere and adapt the message to the platform, you're gonna have a higher return on investment, because the audience's expectation of what's coming out of that platform matters, because they're the ones who are going to consume the content. So if they have an expectation that they're going to receive long format educational resources on YouTube, they're probably not going on Facebook for that, or even Instagram, because they know that it's on your YouTube channel. That's where those resources are. So you essentially have to train your audience. Now, once you have clarity, you do your audit, you know what works, what doesn't work, what you're going to tend to. And then you take your time to identify what platforms you're going to invest in for the quarter, and what emotional moments you're going to tie to for those macro conversations to help create and bridge the gap between what the world is expecting to see from you versus what you want to produce for your company or organization. Now, let's talk about putting that into an actual practice. It's really good to have the knowledge, but if you don't know what to do with the information, it's not helpful. So I want to show you our system and I want to show you how we work through our content strategy. So let's talk about the real problem. You need a day at least every month for your marketing, an 8-hour day period for your business, at least every single month. If you cannot give your business at least 8 hours of marketing a month, you're missing opportunity, I promise. Just, I can just tell you right now, you're missing opportunity. So it's not that you don't know what you're doing. It's likely not that. Likely that you don't have time to do it consistently because marketing is a living, kind of breathing thing. It feels and often does creep into every individual day. And we want to get out of that, like, kind of like hustle of having to do the same thing every single day. Let's batch that. Let's be a little bit more productive in how we're handling content development. So I want to challenge you to put on your calendar in April and in May, if you're going to get the A and go above and beyond, a CMO day, Chief Marketing Officer Day. I want you to take off your CEO hat and put on your CMO hat, where you set yourself up into the role of Chief Marketing Officer, not the implementer, not the post when I remember person, the strategist. I want you to think of yourself as a strategist. This is a blocked day or a half day where your only job is marketing, period. So let's talk about what you do when your only job is marketing for that one day. So the first thing is the audit. You can take this and run with it however you want, but you should spend about 30 minutes. You might need to spend longer, but about 30 minutes looking at the last 30, 60 days of content, top performers, lowest performers, make decisions, not guesses, make decisions. What are you going to talk about next? What worked? What didn't work? What are we going to redevelop? What are we going to expand on? Then you're going to talk about the strategy. You need to map out key themes for the month, relevant holidays or conversations, macro conversations, offers you're promoting. This becomes your roadmap. So you've got to map it out. The content creation, you need to batch. So your strategy, your audit should take you about 30 to 45 minutes. Your strategy session should be about 45 minutes to an hour. Key themes for the month, relevant holiday conversations, offers group you're promoting. That about 45 minutes to an hour for that strategy session. And then your content creation will likely take you between 2 and 3 hours if you batch it. Now, do not create one post at a time. If you're doing that, you are going to burn out if you haven't already. So stop it. You have my permission to stop doing that. I want you to create 6 to 12 posts at a time. And I want you to do a couple different types of content when you're doing your CMO day. I want 6 to 12 posts for social. I want 2 to 4 videos for social media. And I want 1 to 2 emails. This is going to help you start getting ahead in your marketing. So eventually you'll be ahead in what you produce content wise, but you can go back and refine and tweak as you need. Then, once you get the content created, those 6 to 12 posts, the 2 to 4 videos, the 1 to 2 emails, it's time to implement. So you've got to schedule it because if it's not scheduled, it's not real. Say that with me. If it's not scheduled, it's not real. All that hard work goes down the drain if it doesn't get scheduled. And then your next step, step 5, is an engagement plan. The biggest missed opportunity is the engagement side. It takes time, energy, effort, intentional focus when you're responding. You have to decide when you're responding. You have to decide how you're starting conversations, because posting is not marketing, conversations are marketing. So you have to be having conversations with your audiences. So how do you do that if you're not 100% sure where to start? If people comment on your post, you should provide a meaningful comment back, meaning more than like an emoji or like liking their comment. Like hit reply, at handle them, like tag them in the reply, and then give a thoughtful, oh, thank you so much for your comment. We appreciate you following us. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us, right? Something meaningful. These types of meaningful responses help expand branding for you, because it then repopulates your post that's being commented on, and where actions are being like impacted, it will throw it back into that algorithm so it can get more views because people are reacting to it. So engagement is a really important part. Have some time, at least once a month, where you go back and engage. At least. If you can't do it more frequently than that, that's fine. At least once a month. When you start to get yourself into a rhythm for creating your posts and you realize you really only need 12 posts a month, that's 3 a week, that's 4 weeks, 12 posts, and 1 or 2 emails is all you need to really start getting your marketing consistently off the ground and moving in the direction where you're actually having impact and you're actually seeing a return on investment for your time, energy, and effort. If you are uncertain about how to determine what to talk about in your brand, I highly recommend using Chat GPT or Claude or one of those AI resources to assess your website and then help you identify all the core key evergreen messages that your brand consists of, so that you can take those and cycle through them over the course of a quarter. So if each month has 12 social media posts in it, you only need 36 for the whole quarter. So over the course of 90 days, 36 posts is all you need, and maybe 3 to 6 emails. If you can sit and build all of that out in one CMO day, you can then write it out for the rest of the quarter. The problem that we have when we start this process is we often try to just do it all at the same time, and we don't know where to end, because there is no end to marketing. It just keeps going and going. It's like having kids. You feed them, they're instantly hungry afterwards. Like my daughter came in the room as she was actively swallowing the last bite of her sandwich, informed me that I didn't give her enough snacks. Like she's hungry. She's like, I'm starving as she's swallowing her food. That's kind of how your marketing is. Like it, if it works, great, but it needs more again. Like it's like again, again, feed me again, again. So getting yourself into a pattern where you show up in a very meaningful way for your marketing is is important, because it's a part of that self-respect for your business. If you can give yourself a marketing day, one a quarter, even if you can't even do one a month, one a quarter, give yourself a marketing day where you can honestly assess what is working, what isn't working, and then go, okay, here's the focus. And then once you identify that focus and those goals, then you're able to make the transition of where am I spending my time? You have to be networking for your company. You have to be showing up in other areas to expand your audience. If you do not know how to meet new people or expand your audience, start with going to a BNI, a lead share, a chamber event, one of our sisterhood events. Like go to a luncheon, like a lunch and learn. Go meet people. Get out of your comfort zone. In the beginning, it's okay if you're just getting out of your comfort zone to network for the first time and you're kind of shy. It's okay to be in rooms where those people aren't necessarily your audience when you're learning how to network, because it helps take a little bit of the pressure off of you to practice your elevator pitch and to practice what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. But strategically speaking, the idea would be that you have yourself a goal and you break that goal into objectives over the course of that quarter. And then those objectives help tell you where you need to be from an audience perspective. So you'll know where to show up because that's where your people are and that's where who you need to be around in order to bring into whatever it is that you're offering. So I want you to think about Q2, not necessarily starting over. It's about it's about getting really intentional, being aware, audit what's working, fix what's not working, step into the right conversations, and create the time to actually implement the work. You have to put it on your calendar and it needs to be sacred, not, oh, it's just marketing time. I do want to go to lunch. It needs to be sacred. You've got to hold yourself to it because the businesses that grow are not the ones that are doing the most. They are the ones that are doing the right thing consistently. It's not deeper than that. So if you need help building this out, or if you want to walk through and audit your messaging, audit your content, audit your strategy, or look at your back ends of your social media channels that you're using to assess the metrics that matter, I'd be happy to help you with that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the comments for you my calendar link. If you'd like to hop on my calendar for a free 30-minute call, I would love to assist with that. And I really think that you'll be surprised at how easy it is to make decisions for your business when you have clarity on what works, what doesn't, what you are doing, what you're not doing. So I hope you'll take the time to give it a try and show up for your business in a meaningful way for your marketing. And hopefully I'll see you this week on my calendar. And we'll be back on Wednesday. And I hope you have a good week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.